last out to the pack, it is Pack here.
AKA your mama's best friend.
2020 was obviously not the best year we've ever had, like ever, and it's been pretty tough. But there were some players in the NBA that just found a way to fight through it and get even better than the start of the year, which is impressive. I mean, it wasn't a great year, it was tough, and yet they got even better somehow. What I'm going to be doing in Go to NBA 2K21, I'm going to compare the ratings from December 31st and their 2K rating in NBA 2K20, and then compare it to NBA 2K21 and find each team's most improved player of the year. I do this every single year, and I'm excited to do this one because this one's a little different because there was less games played ever this year than ever in NBA history, and still there were some players that were able to grow, and that's pretty cool. Before this video starts though, please follow the new channel. It is Pack. It is where I'm going to be doing IRL content and also React content, so it would help me a million if you guys subscribe to that. Please. Let's get this video started with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I was almost gonna say nobody, but there was one player that had a pretty big year, and that was Shake Milton on the 76ers. There you are. Shake Milton was a 70 overall at the start of the year and ended the year as a 76 overall, and it's really because he needed to. This team was in dire need of a shooter. Like, remember, Seth Curry and Danny Green were not on the team yet, so it was literally just Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris who was doing last season. I don't know if y'all remember, especially in the three-point line. They were struggle city, and they needed somebody to hit some shots, and Shake Milton stepped into the plate and was so key for them. They still failed pretty bad last year, and in the bubble they didn't do great, and in the playoffs they lost pretty badly, but still, Shake Milton himself had a pretty good year with 9.4 points per game and was their basically best shooter on the team, and that was basically everything. So +6 for Shake Milton, one of the biggest upgrades of the year. For the Bucks, it was Brook Lopez. Kind of a similar situation with Shake Milton. This team was in dire need of a shooter because Giannis's game is 100% based off of his driving ability, and you can't do that when you have a post-up center like Brook Lopez, who was an elite post-up player with the Nets. They needed him to start shooting threes, and he was like, I got y'all, and he started to do it. Even though he shot 31% from three last year, the year before, and like kind of like the start of 2020, he was about like 36%. So he was able to stretch the floor out and at least be a little bit respectable that people had to come out to him, which was a pretty big deal for the Bucks. They needed him to, and he went +4 from a 78 to an 82, and he fits the team perfectly now, which is what the Bucks need. For the Bulls, I was surprised that basically nobody. Zach LaVine kind of had his growth the year before, and then nobody else really stepped into the play last year. The only one you can say is Kobe White was a 76, now a 77, so +1 for him. Besides that though, nobody, but Kobe White should get a bigger upgrade this coming roster update whenever we get one. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, the only player that I could find that had a big upgrade, even though Colin Sexton is going to get one pretty soon, and probably Darius Garland as well. But the only one that has an upgrade is Kevin Porter Jr. He was a 72 and now he's a 75, so +3 for KP Jr. Now, he is currently not playing, but when he comes back, he's going to be a pretty big part to this team. This team's been having a good start. They were 3-1, they were 3-0, but the Knicks beat them. But they've been playing decent so far, and with Kevin coming back eventually, it'll be even better. So for the Celtics, obviously Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum was already at a point at the start of the last year where he was an 86 overall. He was already expected to become the best player on this team because at the time it was tied with Kemba Walker. And so nobody knows what was going to happen. And then Jason Tatum basically put his foot down and became the guy for the team. And now he's a 90 overall, one of the best players in the league. He's crazy. He's so good, and he's only getting better. And I wouldn't even be surprised if this year Jaylen Brown becomes most improved player for the team. I wouldn't be surprised. For the Clippers, it was Marcus Morris Sr. It could have been a little higher. He is a 79 overall. He was a 77 overall, so +2. It could have been even higher if he stayed on the Knicks because he was an 81 on the Knicks, so it would have been a +4 for him. But when he got to the Clippers, or traded to the Clippers, his role wasn't as big anymore, so it went down a little bit. But still, it's kind of bad that basically everybody on this team got a downgrade except for Marcus Morris, who's like new to the team, so it's kind of weird. For the Grizzlies, believe it or not, it's only John Morant, and it's only a +1. He was an 84 to the start of the year, now he's an 85, and he got hurt. Well, he has a sore right ankle. He did roll his ankle pretty bad, and I actually thought it was a really even worse injury because of how he reacted when he rolled it. But still, John Morant is so good. He's so fun to watch, and I wouldn't be surprised if this rating goes up soon because he was averaging like 30 something in the past couple games, so he is stupid good. He's so fun to watch. So for the Hawks, John Collins, not Trae Young, was the biggest upgrade of 2020. He was only an 84, and has an 85, so +1 for him. I mean, he did average 22 points last season on 10 rebounds. and he was efficient. I mean, he's actually really, really good. You know, they added all this talent, right? They added Danilo Gallinari, Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic. They added all this talent, and yet John Collins is still easily the second best player on this team and got even better this year, and I expect this roster update to give him even a bigger upgrade. He's crazy. For the Miami Heat, they had a big 2020. They made it to the freaking finals. Bam Adebayo like basically came out of his own. Jimmy Butler really proved that he is that leader in this NBA, that two-way player. Duncan Robinson proved that he's one of the best NBA three-point shooters in the league. And Tyler Hero, as a rookie, basically had himself a season. He started the season off as a 76 overall and now he's an 83, so +7, making him the highest upgraded player of 2020. Tyler Hero took this year by the nuts and was like, this is mine. For the Hornets, Gordon Hayward. Let's be real, Gordon Hayward had a pretty nasty injury, and then when he was on the Celtics, he was having a pretty rough start. But at kind of the end of the year, he was getting a lot better, and on top of that, on the Hornets, he's doing a good start. He was a 79 overall at the start of 2020, and now he's an 83, so +4 for Gordon Hayward. And who knows who's going to be considered the best player on the Hornets so far? It could be Terry, it could be Gordon, we'll see. For the Utah Jazz, it is actually Joe Ingles. He was a 77, now he's a 79 +2. I thought he was like an 80 something at the start of 2020, but I was wrong. He got up, and I mean, Joe Ingles is everything you want out of a starter. 10 points, 5 assists, and then 4 rebounds on good efficiency. And he's a good defender for the most part, so you can't really ask for much more from a starter than Joe Ingles. For the Kings, I was almost going to say nobody, which is surprising because they actually had a good year last year. They had so much talent they succeeded rather than one player carrying. But there is one player they got to upgrade, and that is, where is he? Chimezi Metu, who was on the Spurs, and he was a 71 at the start of the year, has a 73, and I don't even know if he plays right now. Maybe they give him minutes, but yeah, that's like the only upgrade in this entire team, which is weird because they didn't even have a bad year last year, so it's weird. For the Knicks, literally nobody, like straight up nobody got an upgrade. In fact, it was mostly downgrades in 2020, which is crazy. Like really, like it is really weird. I mean, they literally only played from January to March, and that was it. I would not be surprised if Julius Randle gets a huge upgrade soon, but that hasn't happened yet. So for 2020, nobody literally on the Knicks. For the Lakers, believe it or not, LeBron from a 97 to a 98. I mean, LeBron really did prove last year that he is the best player in the league. I mean, when you're one of the greatest players of all time, easy top 2, you should always be at least a 98 unless you're having a bad season, which he hasn't had. So I could even argue LeBron should be a 99 because he hasn't shown like he's getting worse. And we can all agree that he's a top 2 player of all time. So it's like, yeah, I'd even argue he should be higher. For the Magic, Nikola Vucevic was an 85, now an 86, but let's be real, Markelle Fultz will probably get this biggest upgrade out of everybody. But until that happens, this year, 2020, it was Nikola Vucevic. For the Dallas Mavericks, in fact, believe it or not, Luka went down as a rating, which is kind of weird considering how good of a 2020 he had. The player that got an upgrade was Kristaps Porzingis from an 85 to an 87, so +2 for him. Even though he is hurt, he did have a very good year last year. And people forget, when Luka was hurt last year, Porzingis literally carried the Mavericks and got them in a winning position without Luka, and that's probably the biggest reason why he got such a big upgrade, for sure. For the Nets, I mean, I don't think any of you are going to be surprised when I say Karis LeVert from a 78 to an 83, so +5 for him for the year. Dude is literally a bucket getter. Kind of shades of CJ McCollum. He just scores. Like, he straight up can score in any way he wants, and it's very impressive. And I wouldn't even be afraid to say a 6th man of the year candidate, even though I don't know if he's starting now because of the injury with Spencer Dinwiddie. I actually don't know if he's starting anymore. It's fresh in the year though. No matter what, he's a really good player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins some kind of award this year because he's been fantastic. For the Nuggets, it's Michael Porter Jr. Of course, dude was a 76 overall, now he's an 81 +5. This dude was destined to be good. The problem is everybody thought he was going to be bad because of his back injury, and I always used to say, nobody says they used to have a back injury. Back injuries are kind of something that you keep forever, but Michael Porter Jr. has exceeded expectations and is looking like the 3rd best player on the Nuggets already, which is a big deal. And his rating might even go even higher just because of how good he's been playing so far. He's been the 2nd leading scorer for the team. We shall see though. But yeah, he's been fantastic. For the Pacers, it's actually TJ Warren from an 80 to an 85, and it's literally right just because of his bubble play. If y'all remember, he was averaging like 31 in the bubble. He was insane. He was averaging 20 for the season and 31 in the bubble. Dude was easily the best player on the Pacers in the bubble, but they played the Heat in the 1st round and got completely bodied by Jimmy Butler. So yeah, and then at the start of the year, he's been kind of compared to Sabonis and Victor Oladipo, but still, TJ Warren, had a pretty good 2020. For the New Orleans Pelicans, it's Zion, and duh. He was an 81 overall, and I think we all agree Zion was expected to be amazing, and he was. So after only a couple games, he's played like 30 games in total. He goes from an 81 to an 86. Title Brandon Ingram, even though I think Brandon Ingram should maybe be a little higher than Zion, just a little bit, but still one of the highest upgraded players of the year. So the only players that got upgraded on the Pistons are not on the team anymore. So literally nobody on the Pistons. But I do expect Jeremy Grant to get a massive upgrade, like as soon as there's a roster update. Also, Josh Jackson will definitely also get a big upgrade, so expect these two to get upgrades for sure. For the Toronto Raptors, it is Terrence Davis. Started as a 70 overall, and now he's a 76 overall, so +6 for 2020. One of the biggest upgrades of the year. 3-point shooting player. Has been essential for this team. This team has depth, and it has been because guys like Terrence Davis who just come out of nowhere and start succeeding, just like guys like Matt Thomas did, just like guys like Malachi Flynn is doing now. Like, these dudes just come out of nowhere. It's crazy. Either the Raptors know exactly what they're doing when they pick up players or trade for players, but Terrence Davis had himself an amazing year. You know, he kind of looks like Davis a little bit. Okay, for the Houston Rockets, Christian Wood. I know it doesn't really count because he just got into the Rockets. Let's break this down. Christian Wood was a 77 on the Pistons at the start of 2020. That's an 80. I think everybody agreed, and I don't know if you remember me saying Christian Wood's gonna be the second best player on this team easy. Like, he's just that good. People are forgetting that he was averaging like 22 in the last couple months before the Pistons stopped playing because of Corona. So he's been amazing. He's easily the second best player on this team, like not even a question. He's gonna average like 22 to 25 this year, especially with James Harden basically feeding him spoon-fed buckets sometimes. So yeah, no, this dude is gonna have not only one of the biggest 2020s, but now he's gonna have one of the biggest 2021s probably as well. For the Spurs, basically nobody. Derek White did get a +1 from a 78 to a 79, which is ridiculous because in the bubble he played amazing. He was arguably our best player in the bubble, and yet they didn't give him any upgrade at all for the new game, which is just insane to me. So he is hurt now, so I don't expect that to be upgraded for a while. But it's just insane that he definitely should be like an 83 at least, and he's not, which is crazy. For the Suns, it is Chris Paul. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you lead the Thunder to what, the 5th seed, whatever they were last season. I mean, no one expected that team to be good, and yet honestly, they played against the Rockets really well and almost beat them. I think they took them to 7 games, and Chris Paul almost beat them by himself. So Chris Paul went +2 from an 86 to an 88 throughout the year, and I expect that to go down, but who knows. For the Thunder, SGA easily from an 81 to an 84. He is an amazing dude. He's kind of by himself on this team. I know Lou Dort's pretty good, but Lou Dort hasn't gotten his rating upgrade yet, so we'll see. But still, SGA had an amazing season. For the Timberwolves, Malik Beasley from a 75 to a 77. This team is kind of lackluster when it comes to talent, but they do have Malik, who has been a very good player for them, consistent player for them throughout the past year. And is even having a good start to 2021, which is a big deal for Malik. For the Blazers, it's Dame, straight up from a 91 to a 95. He went from one of the better players in the NBA to maybe the best point guard in the league. I know Curry exists. I'm not gonna act like Curry doesn't exist. I'm not stupid. But if we're going based off the bubble and the start of the year, Damian Lillard has looked like the best point guard in the NBA. And that's just a huge 2020. He's pulling up from the logo like he doesn't even care anymore. Like, and he's making them. It's just crazy. For the Warriors, nobody. I'm gonna give it to Kelly Oubre because he got +1, but he's playing bad, so that's gonna go down. So literally nobody for 2020 so far, and it might be Wiggins. I think Wiggins might have this year. I'm gonna make a Wiggins video pretty soon. If he starts to play a little better, he could be the 2021 most improved player for the Warriors, but we'll see. For the Wizards, it is actually Rui Hachimura, +1 from a 78 to a 79, and that was it. I actually like Rui a lot, and I think he's gonna get even better in time. He's already, in my opinion, the best Japanese player of all time, and he's like played 1 season. So yeah, I like him a lot, and I think that he's gonna grow even more on this team. That is it. That is the most improved player of every team of 2020. Who do you think 2K got wrong? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.